Jermall Charlo isn't holding back. He's made it clear who he wants to see Rolando Romero step into the ring with next, Devin Haney. And according to Charlo, if Rolly pulls off the win, that could spell the end of Haney's run at the top. In Charlo's words, Haney would be washed, just like that. Now, the implications of a Romero-Haney bout go beyond just another WBA welterweight title defense. If Rolly were to take down Haney, just months after upsetting Ryan Garcia, he'd not only derail two of the division's biggest names, he'd send shockwaves through the entire landscape. The chances of a Ryan versus Haney super fight, gone, vaporized. Rolly would have taken them both off the chessboard, back-to-back moves. But let's be real, it's highly unlikely Haney's team is going to jump at that offer. They know exactly what kind of power Rolly brings, and they've seen what happens when Haney gets clipped clean. One big shot from Romero and Devin could find himself not just losing a fight, but losing his place in the sport's upper tier altogether. For a fighter who's still undefeated on paper, that kind of fall would be devastating. If Rolly does to Haney what he just did to Ryan, that's legacy, Charlo said when speaking with media. That makes money. That makes history. I'd say go stop Dev next, or Gervonta. That's the path. Charlo, never one to mince words, believes Romero could go from a meme to a monster, rewriting the script entirely if he takes down someone like Haney next. But here's the twist. Some folks think Haney might already cook. His recent showing against Jose Ramirez didn't help. Yes, Haney technically got but it felt more like a retreat than a triumph. He spent more time circling the ring than engaging. Fans weren't sold, and critics tore him apart. It wasn't just an uninspired performance, it was a red flag. A sign that he might not be built for the wars waiting for him at 140 or 147 pounds. Let's rewind to Friday night at Times Square, a spectacle that was supposed to set up fireworks, not fizzle them out. Rolly Romero shocked the boxing by outboxing Ryan Garcia, snatching a unanimous decision in what was expected to be a warm-up for Ryan. That win turned the whole card upside down. Romero wasn't just supposed to lose, he was handpicked to make Ryan look. They were even planning to announce a rematch that same night for October. Instead, Rolly spoiled the party with a career-defining upset, and on the same card, Haney stepped in to face Jose Ramirez. Another name test. While he came away with the W, it wasn't a performance to remember. In fact, it was the kind of fight that makes you question whether a guy still has it. Haney looked hesitant, overly cautious, and at times unsure. The movement, the defense, the lack of offensive urgency, it didn't sit right. Even though he didn't technically lose, the buzz around him took a serious hit. The way fans and insiders are treating it, he might as well have been knocked out. It's tough to ignore how drastically things have shifted in just one night. A few weeks ago, we were talking about Garcia-Haney as the next big thing. Now, after both guys turned in disappointing outings, one in defeat, forgettable win, the idea of matching them up again just doesn't have the same spark. People were willing to watch that rematch if Haney had delivered something special. But after seeing him retreat against Ramirez and Rolly outclass Ryan, it's hard to sell that fight now. The juice just isn't there. And it might not just be a delay, it could be a permanent derailment. The hype train for Garcia versus Haney has hit the brakes, and it may not get back on track. As for Rolly, he's suddenly holding the cards. He's got options. And whether it's Haney, Tank Davis, or even a bigger name down the road, Romero has gone from an afterthought to a serious player. Now, if Haney does decide to take that risk and faces Rolly, it won't just be about defending a perfect record. It'll be about defending his identity as an elite fighter. A knockout loss could be catastrophic. Fans are ruthless, and one bad night can erase years of careful branding and position. That's why people are saying if Rolly flattens Haney, he's not just handing him a loss, he's handing him an eviction notice from the top tier. Of course, there are still people in Haney's corner who believe in him. Promoters like Eddie Hearn have always seen Devin as a marketable fighter. Even if his in-ring performances are starting to lose shine, his name still carries weight. There's even talk about taking him across the pond, maybe trying his luck. In the UK, where the matchups are softer and the spotlight is still bright, the so-called Conor Benn treatment, careful matchmaking, big entrances, and favorable odds. But let's not kid ourselves. Haney wouldn't be viewed as a dangerous contender, not in the way that mattered. He'd be a draw, sure, but more of a stepping stone for others than a threat himself. It's a rough place to be, especially for a fighter who once had the boxing world buzzing about his potential. Meanwhile, Romero is eating all of this up. He knows he's become the spoiler, and for a guy who's never been afraid to talk, he's starting to build a resume to back it up. That win over Ryan wasn't just luck, it was execution. And if he can follow it up with a win over Haney, we're talking about a legitimate reinvention of a fighter many wrote off as a gimmick. Legacy fights, big paydays, title unifications, it's all in front of him. Jermall Charlo sees the opportunity clearly. Raleigh's momentum is real, and boxing is all about capitalizing while the iron is hot. And right now, Raleigh is scorching. As for Haney, the clock is ticking. He either steps up and silences the critics, or he risks becoming just another name in the what could have been category. So where does this all go from here? It depends on who's willing to take the risk. If Haney digs deep and agrees to fight Raleigh, it could be the defining moment of his career, for better or worse. If he ducks the challenge, people will talk. If he takes the fight and loses, even more will. But if he takes the fight and wins, he might just redeem himself and turn the tide. Either way, the pressure's on. The fight world is watching, and with Charlo stirring the pot and Romero's confidence at an all-time high, the next move could change everything.